Here we go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Got a busy show for you. Hope you guys are ready to go. Hot and humid out. Man, enjoy some time outside. But if you enjoy some time outside, don't get away from the show. Be a part of the show. Participate in the show because we have plenty to do today. We have plenty to give away today. And, even though I don't loathe being in studio, but I sure as hell would rather be out someplace with you guys. And you know what happens when I'm out with you guys, right? So I'm kind of the Pied Piper of one hell of a great time wherever I go. And that's just the way that it is. It's true. It really is true. And I kind of joke around about, hey, this nerd this or dork that. That is the one thing that I know. I am, as I think I would like to describe, a shower of a tremendous time. That's me. I'm a shower of a tremendous time. And that's what's missing being out on Thursday and Friday. Next week, we'll be out a couple of different times. But this is a term that I've invented myself because I'm just not that bright to look up exactly what would be the King's English, so to speak, here. But I am the creator of a great time. And I'm wondering, because we had really 2 seasons with the Pacers that would be described as a creation of a great time. You could not be more fortunate. And I know I get a lot of the Slep Rock stuff, and believe me, Tyrese Halliburton being injured stinks. I love the round of applause that he got yesterday at the Fever game where they showed him on camera. And he so gets it. He is such a good dude and a tremendous leader both on and off the floor. He is perfect for this place. He is perfect for Indy and perfect for the Pacers. Let me tell you, the Colts so dearly need somebody like that. I mean, somebody that is all in, on, and off. And I know that those that want to be, I know Anthony Richardson would love to be, but you just haven't seen at all nearly enough to believe that capability is there. But being a shower of a good time, if you're the Pacers the past 2 years, what you've done is you've driven past the year before last expectations. Yeah, nobody thought they were going to end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. They did. Got swept. But remember the whole dialogue after they got swept by the Celtics? It was, that was even better, the competition they provided for the Celtics, than what you witnessed in the NBA Finals against Dallas. It was almost like a pat on the back for being swept. That's not true, but that's how it sounded. That was a surprise all the way back to, we thought it was silly at the beginning. Remember the whole in-season tournament? That first time around, oh, it's so silly until your ass is like playing in it in the championship game. So they were the Pied Pipers of a good time the year before last, and then this year it goes without saying. I compared this year, and I've seen other people now compare this online. I'm not suggesting that I started this, but I'll take credit for it if you guys want to give me credit for it, is the comparison between the Fever and the Pacers. The Fever this year and the Pacers this past year. Why, might you ask? Because the Fever are a game under 500. Incredibly disappointing, I think, so far. Incredibly disappointing. And believe me, if you are going to play such a significant role in the sports landscape, then you're going to be a part of what is going to be criticized just as much as what is going to be raised up and appreciated. It's the nature of what we do. I don't want to sit here and have to be critical of anything, but I can't tell you after yesterday afternoon's crap fest that was any sort of good brand of basketball. That was a channel changer. I love Pat Boylan, but I'd rather have Days of Our Lives on than I would watching that for 3 quarters. It was a mess. But I did equate it to this. I equated it to the Pacers this past year, and we'll find out if that is a fair and or accurate comparison coming up later on. But we watched the Pacers this past year. Remember, I was, run it back, and I was shaking my fist at everybody. Anybody that would counter. A lot of people get mad at me because, well, you don't listen to other opinions. I do listen to other opinions, but I choose to be very hard-headed with my own. That doesn't mean I dislike you. That doesn't mean we can't get along. But I'm not going to be easily persuaded to lose an opinion that I myself created and feel compelled to back up with confidence. And last year I did. Remember last year, I'm shaking my fist every day. You guys are saying, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. You got to get somebody on the wing that can defend. Two-way, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no. We got to see more out of this group. And granted, this season going into it is much different than what you witnessed last year. But I believed in this group, and this group paid us all back. I was going to say just paid me back, but it paid everybody back. I know we live in a world right now, and everybody wants to quote Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. That is so incredibly untrue. You waited 25 years for this group to do what they did again. 25 years. Let's think about for a moment what has all transpired in the past 25 years since that time they broke into the NBA Finals in 2000 to when they were back in the NBA Finals in 2025. Right? We're all different. I don't know how different I am. I'm kind of the same, which is laughable. But I think we're all fairly different, certainly different spots in our lives. It's incredibly special. And you take a team 7 games, especially what was a pronounced favorite going into 7 games. Listen, I know that there's going to be no Larry O'Brien trophy, but it is still a season of greatness. I don't care what anybody says, and that is not a loser mentality. That is the straight dope truth. Incredible season. And what that entailed was something that you had to believe in. Because early on this past year, you didn't believe in it. Much like the fever right now, you're not really believing in it. You wonder what's going on. What's wrong with Caitlin Clark just beyond an injury? Does this group not perform well together? All these, I think, are valid questions and valid discussions. But I will compare it to the Pacers because Aaron Nesmith, remember when he stepped on Willie Green's dumbass was out on the floor, the coach of the Pelicans then, and Nesmith stepped on him. I know that they don't blame Willie Green for that, but I do because that's just how I roll. You're out on the floor, and you shouldn't be because you don't have a uniform on and you're not playing. I know you're the coach, but you're still not playing. Don't be out on the floor. If you're not playing, there's no need for you to be on the floor unless you're playing or officiating it. So he steps on Willie Green's foot, and he's gone for a while, and that takes away a great deal of the dynamic. And this team also, with Tyrese Halliburton, had to find itself. And basically from January 1 throughout, they became the type of team and the reason why I felt so compelled to back them up in a level of confidence. And they delivered. And I will equate the fever with that distinct possibility. It has been roundly disappointing. Just like when the Pacers were 5 games under 500 in December, and you're thinking, man, there is no Christmas worth this. This was supposed to be so much more enjoyable, and it is not. The Fever have a similar opportunity. Disappointing. Caitlin Clark's missed a lot of games. There's been a lot of hype, and let's just face it, the results have not been even in the ballpark of that particular level of hype. But I think comparisons can be made. You had somebody that really didn't dig it. That somebody had to get out of town. You got somebody that was dealing with an injury. A lot of things you want to see come together. So hopefully coming up tomorrow night against Atlanta and then going into these games prior to the All-Star break, that they find it. So I'll make that comparison there. But the Pied Piper of enjoyment, me, I need to go ahead and play a little tune for the Colts, because there is no franchise out there that is in more need of believability for those fans out there than the Colts this year. I was thinking about this last night. Every single conversation we have is to the negative. And, man, I sit here and try to battle it, but they don't give you a reason, at least results-driven reason to believe it or to believe in it. So we are left to really advise until further notice. They're in need of it. And I know I look at Anthony Richardson and I was like Mr. Move On guy. But since we're all sitting here and we're all together, wouldn't it be nice for them to go ahead and cobble something together that has been very Pacer-like? Because much like fans of the Pacers, fans of the Colts have been incredibly patient. Like 9 years of patience with Chris, 3 years of patience going into this year with Shane, also 3 years of patience with Richardson. Frankly, I don't care who turns it around this year. I don't care if it's Jones or Richardson or Bean or James or me, but can somebody turn it around? And I think it's even more pronounced in a season for the first time that this group will be playing without, and I'm assuming for, their late owner, Jim Irsay, who would not have loved any more to see this team finally get it turned around. Oftentimes, folks get honored, and I give you a great example. Dave Parker's going to go into Cooperstown. Dave Parker passed away, so he understood that honor was coming, but he never got to be a part of the honor. I think the big word is, and this is a struggle for me in southern Indiana, right, down in Greene County, posthumously. You look at Dave Parker, and he's going to be celebrated now posthumously. You look at Pete Rose, and he was already celebrated anyway, but he's now going to look to be more celebrated posthumously. And what a great opportunity to find a little bit of something. I don't care if you call it magic. I don't care if it's good fortune. I'll just call it good play and putting something together that rewards a fan base that has been here the entire time and is sick and tired of dealing with a mediocre-ass product. That's where you are. So that's what we discuss as we're a couple of weeks away from the start of Colts camp. I don't care who it is, as long as it's somebody. And you don't necessarily, there's no blueprint to follow from the Pacers. There's no blueprint to follow whatsoever, just like the Fever. But in the case of the Colts, take advantage of a schedule that, when you look at it right now, is, I think is reasonable to assess the schedule being boring as hell. Play that to your advantage. Take it and roll with it. Finally utilize a division that you just simply put haven't for years. And I know it's tough to grasp because we went through this golden era with Peyton Manning to where, ho-hum, it's a 13 or a 12 or a 14-win season. But there are so many good reasons for this team to be able to turn it around. And you hope you finally see something come together. Because we've been waiting and wondering and criticizing. It's almost like we wallow right now in this team's futility. And frankly, I think at this point, everybody around here is more than tired of it. It's boring anymore to be critical of Anthony Richardson. It's boring anymore to be critical of the Chris Ballard decisions. It's time now, you would think, in 9 years that you would see something really come together, with an opportunity to come together. And hopefully for the Colts, this season is it. Like, I don't really care. And I hope this season is all about football, because the other aspect of it is, just like you guys, I think we're all kind of sick and tired of talking about other things than just winning or losing on the football field, or disappointment on the football field. You have waited long enough. It's funny, you start a season, and think about that if you're an IU football fan. You didn't really know what you're getting into. You kind of liked the dialogue from Curt Cignetti last year. That was something you could get on board with, the bravado, in terms in which it's never been described or talked about. How about the Colts? How about the Colts doing something much like IU football fans saw this past season, and I think expect now? Again, I think that's comparable to the Pacers. Now this is something like, I expect this Pacer team this season not to be the disastrous mess that others do. Hopefully that proves out, but that's my belief in this team concept. It is time for the Colts to step up in that capacity. I think they have a lot of the pieces. But at quarterback, I don't care who it comes down to. I don't care who's the week one starter. We're going to go through all of that conversation through camp. It's going to be overanalyzed to the bejesus belt. It just needs to be somebody. Let's look at the stats. Now is the perfect time. We can discuss that at 239-1070 if you so desire. Listen, I don't know if, much like the Fever to the Pacers, if you can make any comparisons here, because with the Colts, you've been waiting for so long. I just know this. Somebody deliver a quarterback, whether it's Daniel Jones or Richardson, and go ahead and take the debate off for a while and be more about this team doing something that they haven't done stinking forever that we got used to. Bring that back. The Pacers have done it. Let's see if the Colts can. 239-1070 is that number. Email address is jmv1075thefan.com. Inside the AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live. My advice to you is to become a AAA member. And do that today. You're on the road for summer vacation. Somebody's got your back. Or if you want the great deals, like Symphony on the Prairie, all these tribute bands they have up there, which is one hell of a time. You picnicking, like James, a little wine, a little cheese, a little ambiance right there. And do they have a tribute band to Lamb of God out there?
I doubt it, but you never know.
If a Lamb of God tribute will ever play at Symphony on the Prairie. You can get great deals for that, the Indians and Ruoff. And, of course, we're approaching, coming up tomorrow, we've got a couple of opportunities for you to win Dave Matthews Band tickets. Hey, by the way, so Corbin's good?
Yep, he's
show
good.
Listener Corbin and show listener Jeremiah never, ever say that the host of this show doesn't deliver. And I know that Doug Shelton's all up my rear end about the Yes Sir shirt and stuff at the State Fairgrounds. But I always deliver, James? Always deliver.
You always do.
The mailman back in the day. Always deliver. So Corbin and Jeremiah enjoy Dave Matthews Band. And as I mentioned, the AAA membership, you're going to get great deals and perks going out to Ruoff, for example, for these two shows coming up tomorrow. And tomorrow evening at Ruoff, we're talking about early entry. We're talking about the Premier Lounge, all these great deals on the shows that are coming up at Ruoff. Become a AAA member. Do that today. Tom Dienhart, we're going to go through a lot of things in the Big Ten for football. I think that Oscar Clough, one of the big deals that Purdue and I think that he's finally able to get back here. I want to go through some of the greatest Oscars of all time. Off the top of your head, give me an Oscar. Got an Oscar? Not the Academy Award Oscar either, but you got a good Oscar name over there?
Oscar the Grouch.
Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Oscar Gamble, former Major League Baseball. You know what Oscar Gamble was synonymous for?
Are you going to say gambling?
Had a tremendous afro in the 1970s. He and Bake McBride had the two greatest afros of all time where the fro stuck out of the helmet. The helmet was just kind of like placed upon the helmet wasn't protecting anything. It was like all about the fro. Oscar Gamble.
Oscar Robertson.
Oscar Robertson. The great and friend of this show, by the way, right here. Oscar Mayer. Wieners.
Oh, that's a good one.
Discussing wieners on this show. Got any other Oscars? Oscar Schmidt. You know who that is?
No, not off the top of my head.
Former guard of the Brazilian national team in 1987 here in Indy that took Team USA to the cleaners. Oscar Schmidt.
Oscar Wilde?
Is that an author or something?
I
Did
think
he
he's
write
an
a
author,
book?
yeah.
You wrote a book. Famous Oscars. Tom Dienhart and I discussed that and this ridiculous expansion idea with the NCAA tournament. I am with Mike DeCourcy. I know Mike was on with Derek a little bit earlier today. Even as a Sycamore fan and as pissed as I was when I didn't make the tournament, you know how much enjoyment, and I deserve that enjoyment, how much enjoyment I got the year before last out of an NIT run. I know it's the NIT, but it was enjoyable. I know it was played in their backyard. It was played at Hinkle, the Final Four. It was enjoyable. I don't think I would trade that for a first four matchup where you get depants by Wyoming in Dayton, Ohio, or a first 12 matchup, or however they intend upon doing this when it does happen. We'll do that, talk a little Big Ten football with Tom Dienhart coming up as well. Mike Chappell, a precursor to the start of Colts camp, will play off of some of the words that I had regarding this team coming up in 2025, especially in remembrance and honoring their owner that passed away this past spring in Jim Irsay. Mike Chappell joins us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Dave Matthews Band tickets, Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets. We also have for you Sounds of the Summer at the Indiana State Fair. A hot and humid outside, but a day in which you need to crank this show up. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
V.
Look at all those ding-dongs.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, thank you for joining us. This is Ricky Martin right here. Thank you, James. Jalen Williams is in now. You've got the trio with OKC with extensions. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams. We are talking, are you ready for this staggering figure? Over $880 million between the three through 2031. $880 million plus. Now, our friend Bobby Marks mentions this. The Thunder have the resources to be sustainable for the foreseeable future. 14 firsts in the next 7 years, which is just incredible, Sam Presti, including a potential of 4 first-rounders in 2026. Revenue stream equates to a new arena in 2028, national television contract and possible expansion. Again, this is according to our friend Bobby Marks on X. Contracts staggered in the future. SGA doesn't start until 27-28. And the 5th lowest payroll since 2020 and 2021. All of that with $880 million plus through 2031 on the inbound for 3 dudes of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Come on now, that's impressive, right? That has to be impressive. Esteban writes this, JMV, I don't know. Somehow the basketball god said to us, instead of a title, you get complete catastrophe. It's like your girlfriend in high school who got you to the point of and suddenly stopped and broke up with you. Why would somebody give me that analogy? Is there a reason why Esteban decided to give me that particular analogy? I believe that is called a couple of different things. Blue satchel. And I think also you could call it, did you ever reference this, elephantitis of the satchel back in the day?
I have never heard of that one.
Elephantitis of the sack.
I've heard the first one.
Esteban. See, you can look at it that way if you want, but I choose not to. Esteban, I choose to look at it my way. And I'm very hard-headed, very stubborn. But I choose to look at it my way. And my way is this was so much a level of the team. And I'm not setting false hope up for an Eastern Conference Finals or back-to-back NBA Finals or anything like that. What I am telling you that this is not going to be a complete catastrophe. They have guys that are ultra competitive / talented that will be able to hang, especially in the Eastern Conference landscape. I don't give a damn what Atlanta did. I don't give a damn what people are thinking about Philly getting guys back from injury, because those same guys they're getting back from injury, we all know this, will be injured again because they're injured guys. So I don't care about Atlanta. Orlando was going to be transitional in legitimacy anyway. I'm just not Miami. I'm not writing whatsoever this Pacers team off. I think that you are going to have an enjoyable watch. Believe me, everybody around here plays the better role when it's the role of the underdog. I mean, hell, it was all the way through. It's been the last 2 years. This Pacer team, the fan base around here, you thrive in the underdog role. This is the perfect underdog role. Because it's almost like you go in and you have, and nothing against Esteban right here, because he had a great elephantitis of the satchel reference right there. Well done. But you kind of go in looking at it like it's going to be a disaster, a mess, And then I think commonly forget about the reason why this group had performed so well in the past 2 years, and certainly Halliburton and Miles to a high degree, they were a part of it, and they're not going to be a part of it this year. But it is a team concept, and a team concept that I will believe in. I'm not getting paid to believe in it. I mean, hell, the only person I can ever get on the show over there is Chad Buchanan because we're friends, who, by the way, is going to show up tomorrow. I mean, anybody else, I got to wait 9 years for it. I don't have 9 years to wait. Now, maybe I do. Think I got 9 years to wait, James?
I'd say probably not.
Think so? You don't think I'll make it sitting in this chair for 9 more years?
No. Time's running short.
I got news for everybody out there. Let's just say, for example, James is right. He's accurate about this. For all of you that one of these days hope that you get rid of me, you're never truly going to get rid of me because I'm going to haunt your ass when I'm dead, too. So be ready.
Honestly, I could imagine.
Alive or dead in this chair, somebody's getting haunted by me.
I could imagine you pass on and your ghost just comes into the studio, keeps doing the show like normal.
We're going to talk about Miles Turner today and how you jackasses don't get it. I will haunt you, I promise. I'm never, ever going away. That said, I do have a deeply rooted belief in this group. Now, it's going to be, I think, a situation to where they're going to have to prove it to you, but I believe that they will. And there's no reason, I don't have to think that way. It's like there are a lot of reasons why I think this Colts team could be better. I think that there is more talent there, but the problem we have is there's no believability. Now, obviously, that starts with the most important position in sports, but we have no believability. You know, even without these two players for the Pacers, I have believability because I believe in that team. 239-1070 is that number. Nick is up first on this afternoon. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Never better, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm going to haunt everybody's ass. Once I'm dead, you think you're getting rid of me when I'm dead? Well, hold on a minute, because that's not happening. I will be back.
Well, look, I have to quote your former employee and say, TC, how's traffic?
Mark would appreciate that to this day.
So a couple things. You and I have common interests in our sports allegiances.
Yeah.
Between the Pacers, the Colts, the Reds, and Razor Shines and Dallas Williams and the Indianapolis Indians.
I'm assuming you've been around here forever, much like I have, right?
Well, yep. That's
makes sense.
True.
Makes sense.
We have, I've learned over time that we've decided that our billionaire owners of our teams have elected not to spend money on said teams. And losing Miles Turner was an embarrassment. The Reds, like Banana Boats, Castellini, is an embarrassment. Where are you going to go? The Irsay is not even spending up to the cap for the Colts is an embarrassment. So when are we going to have something to really root for?
I'm going to tell you this.
Unless it's a miracle.
If you could, Nick, if you could
Peyton
not,
or
if you still
Kyrie.
can't root for this product with the Pacers, for example, man, I think that's where you and I were going to find a fork in the road on this. I don't know how in the world you can't root for that product. That's a badass product, even without those two.
Don't get me wrong. I will root for the Pacers. I'm a Purdue fan, and their basketball program is tremendous. And they don't spend as much money as the SEC schools do, and they're totally screwed on football because Brom left at the exact wrong time, and they're not going to get the money that they need to compete. But seriously, like, how do you let Miles Turner go?
Well, let me tell you this, and there was no bigger supporter. And Nick, thank you for the call. You call anytime. There was no bigger supporter around here for 33, the former 33, as me. I was by far the largest, and legitimately so, and it paid off. You guys can say, well, it didn't pay off. It did pay off. But this is my theory. My theory in Miles and his team not giving the opportunity to the Pacers to respond, and maybe it was because of a low ball effort, but maybe it was because of all the times before when the trade rumors have been there. The signing 3 years ago to an offer sheet of DeAndre Ayton, combined with the frustration of offensively, let's just say he was a liability offensively in the finals. As much as I like him and support him, offensively, he just simply put wasn't there. And then a team that absolutely targeted you and only you, by means in which nobody has ever seen. And I think we lose track of when Bobby Marks came on this show last Wednesday and explained it in exactly this fashion. The Bucks did something, while the whole stretch and wave has been done before, never to that financial degree. Somebody wanted him. The Bucks wanted him. And in this case, that made Miles ready to leave. And not giving the Pacers the opportunity to counter, I think, tells you all you need to know. And without knowing, without hearing from Miles, without understanding any of the dialogue, no press conferences from him just yet, that I know that the Pacers feel as if, with the tack that was taken there, that he was just ready to leave. You can blame him or you can't. And honestly, most of you can't blame him because most of you wanted him to leave anyway. You didn't want the Pacers to bring him back. You blamed him for everything. That's okay, because now he's gone. But I think that was, more than anything else, a Miles decision. Maybe it was the cumulative effects of everything. It was 10 years. Maybe it was Halliburton not being here. Ultimately, it seems to me like it was the draw of a team that was absolutely, positively, fully engaged in saying, we want you. And that was that. Nick, thank you for the call. Quick break. We'll come back. Your calls until the top of the hour. Dienhart's going to be here. Chappell's going to be here. Free stuff abounds on this Thursday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, crank this up, James. I believe we have the elements in charge coming up on July the 23rd. We have earth, we have wind, and we have fire. I got to hear this for a second. Full of rocks and minerals. Unique properties. Horns, brass, and funk at Everwise Amphitheater on the 23rd. Number 9 at 239-1070 is going to go on us. That is going to be a spectacular show. Earth, wind, and fire at Everwise Amphitheater. Who's going? Number 9 at 239-1070. Once again, will go on us. That is on a Wednesday night. So a lot of this stuff's on a Saturday, which completely screws me over. But this is on a Wednesday, so hell, I'll be right down there with you. So listen, whoever wins this, James, write this down as a note. Make a note to them, whoever's winning these tickets, that they owe me a cocktail at that show, okay? Make sure. Because, I mean, you guys do got to give back a little bit here. A cocktail for me at that show. A couple of things before I get back to the phones. Tom Dienhart talks about a couple of different things, including college football and the inbound with the Boilers and the rest of the Big Ten, and what looks like the expansion of the NCAA tournament. I don't even want to talk about that right now, do we? Everybody's in. Woo! You know, I don't believe in that as much as I don't believe in, well, you know, everybody has an opportunity. I guess both would be true. Dienhart, top of the hour. Chappell's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, live from Las Vegas. The Pacers and the Cavaliers tip. Their first Summer League action comes up today at 5:30. Chad joins us on the show coming up tomorrow at 5. Hashtag Ask Pat. Pat Sullivan in studio coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. That is tomorrow as well. So a can't miss Friday with you. Couple of things. I am going to be doing a JMV takeover from the Indiana State Fair coming up in August. Seriously, JMV takeover from the Indiana State Fair. Just learned that today, coming up in August. And I'm going to do a JMV takeover that you can find online, digital. And we will embrace the 1980s. I'll explain a little bit more. In fact, I'm going through it right now. But I think it's going to be a weekly thing that I'll do so you guys can listen to it. We can all have a little bit of fun with it. And this is something you can get anytime. You know, as much as I believe in me being live and always being live, and I do, I'm going to give a little bit of JMV takeover the 1980s back, episodically speaking, on a weekly basis. But I will explain. So 2 things that are going to be incredibly fun. Did you know, too, that Mindy Winkler is trying to get me to do a JMV takeover from her backyard coming up here?
Oh, really?
Yeah, coming up in the summer. I think that'd be one hell of a time.
Yeah.
And party that bad boy up. All right, who owes me a cocktail during Earth, Wind, and Fire?
That'd be Justin Noel.
Justin! Just find me there, brother. 23rd of July, Everwise Amphitheater. Get your tickets today. Justin won, and with that win, Justin also owes me a cocktail at the show. Nick is at 239-1070. In fact, this is a different Nick at 239-1070. Hello, Nick.
How we doing?
Nick, I'm great. Go ahead.
Well, Miles Turner leaving. I think that with that being said, the Pacers are still going to be able to compete in the East because everybody's talking about how the East is so weak. Should we have signed and went into the luxury tax for Miles? Yes, if the injury didn't happen. I think you would agree.
I think they were going to go anyway. They were going to go anyway. They were not going to do, and they weren't as motivated as Milwaukee to keep him as the Bucks were to take him away. And that's what he decided to choose right there. And I'm sure a lot had to do with the fact that there was going to be no Halliburton for the year. A lot had to do with the fact that the past, maybe he felt not as coveted. And you get a team that is as active as that and doing something financially that nobody has ever done, then that was tipping the scales, and he chose Milwaukee. Now, that's going to be costly for the time being because his legacy is going to be torn around here, but certainly if you're Miles, that's what you decided. And I think this all came down to, simply put, a Miles decision, especially in terms of not hearing a counteroffer that the Pacers evidently had. But hearing what Milwaukee did to be motivated to bring him in was enough for him, and there you go.
Well, with the last Nick caller that called in and saying that the Pacers, basically saying that they weren't entertaining, he hasn't watched a lot of Pacers, JMV. You and I both know that.
I believe in him, brother. I do. I still believe in him. I believe in that core group right now.
I was totally with you. Then moving on, then he started bringing up like Purdue basketball and all that. So whatever there. But with Caitlin Clark, and the injury and everything, I think we just need to work through the season and things will work out. And for Colts fans, anytime you don't have a quarterback and you go into the mini camp and now training camp with a quarterback competition, Danny Dimes is your guy. And
well, it makes sense given the circumstances. It is telling. Thank you very much, Nick, for the call. If this, and I know people are going, well, it's about time, but seriously, the slate wiped absolutely clean if these guys can't cobble together something interesting this season. Results driven this season. Why? It's going to be the easiest thing you've ever done to go, all right, to hell with all this. Everybody's done. Quick one, we'll come back. Dienhart on the other side. Your chance to win Dave Matthews Band tickets also coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Guess not.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I'm assuming he's doing this. I can't remember if I asked Greg Rakestraw this on Tuesday or not. But tomorrow's the 59th annual Mirage Shrine North-South Football All-Star Classic at Decatur Central High School. That's at 7 o'clock. I got to give a shout-out because my friend Sean Williams' son TJ is a part of that, the CG tight end. Going to be playing in that. So I saw Sean hooping up on Sunday down at CG Central, and his son TJ is going to be a part of that. I'm assuming that Greg has always been, at least in past history, on the call of that. The 59th Mirage Shrine North-South Football All-Star Classic at Decatur Central High School. That is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And a shout-out to one great kid in T.J. Williams right there and his family. And my friend Sean as well. Really cool. I know a lot of other folks and their kids will be participating in that event tomorrow night. So shout-out to you. Always a special event this time of year on a Friday night. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from Golden Black Illustrated, we're across the board. Big Ten football. Expansion to the NCAA tournament possibilities and more with our good friend Tommy D. Tom Dienhart, who joins us now. Hello, Tommy.
How you doing, John? I'm getting ready in a couple of weeks to head out to Vegas with the Big Ten football media day. Can you believe that the Big Ten's actually taking that act on the road to Vegas, to Sin City?
Now, are you making sure that Oscar Clough gets on campus here relatively soon? Did he get, what does he need, his passport or his visa, or what the hell was he looking for here?
Yeah, Oscar's on his way. We reported that. I think Brian Newman reported that not that long ago. So yeah, he's on his way. So he's cleared. So got to get him on campus to help continue to fuel this optimism for the basketball season.
What are your favorite Oscars? Give me your top 5 favorite Oscars of all time. What do you got?
Okay, number one's got to be Oscar Madison, right?
Oh yeah, that would be Jack. See, for me though, I am more of a fan of Quincy, M.E., medical examiner. Because there was nobody more wound up in television history than Quincy.
Yeah, he was wound up, man, smoking his Camel Deluxes and biting his fingernails. But, yeah, Oscar Madison is a good dated reference for you. I'm sure that's flying over the head of everybody listening to this right now. How about Oscar the Grouch, right?
Yeah, Sesame Street, that works.
How about just Oscar Mayer, right?
Oscar Mayer Wieners, correct.
I got a great one for you, John.
Okay, buddy. I know where you're going with this, but go ahead. Yes.
Oscar Gamble.
I love it. And he's known for what?
It's that hairdo, that afro, man.
No doubt about that.
Okay, Oscar. Oh man, I got to come up with a fifth one. I'm blanking on a fifth one right now. I'm ashamed of myself.
De La Hoya would be there.
Okay, there you go. There you go. That's a good.
That would work.
Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar
Robertson.
Oh gosh, darn, yeah. How can I forget Oscar Robertson? Chris Pasanik stuff. Iconic Indiana player. Yeah, there's more good Oscars out there than now you think about it, aren't there? Some more famous Oscars I didn't give myself credit for remembering.
So, hey, I didn't know that Quincy didn't have a first name, did he? He just went by Quincy.
I think so. I never watched Quincy. That wasn't really. It really wasn't my bag.
On his business card, it says R. Quincy.
Okay. Well, you have to Google that.
Dr. R. Quincy. See, it's on channel 83. Okay. Every single weeknight, it's on at, I want to say, 11 at midnight. I stay up until 1 in the morning watching old episodes of Quincy every night.
What are you watching, on Tubi?
I think it's on it's on my Direct TV, which I pay $310 a month to watch Quincy. That's what I do. How big of a jackass am I? But no, Quincy.
You got to be the only guy on the globe watching Quincy on a daily basis. I mean, feel pretty good making that bet.
I watch the Rockford Files, and I try to figure out if James Garner did some work with whatever hot co-star happens to be on an episode of the Rockford Files.
Yes.
I know that he did some behind-the-scenes work on most of it.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
I was kind of a Kojak fan. I got sucked into Welcome Back, Kotter, and What's Happening. And those are, I look back, you watch some of those shows now, you go, what was I watching back then? What was I thinking? And then the White Shadow, I love the White Shadow.
I love that too, buddy. I did. Hey, Oscar, I brought up Oscar Clough for a reason here. The level of difference maker, I know that the opinion varies, and I know we're still a long way away from the start of the college basketball season, but what are the initial expectations for this transfer?
Oscar Mayer? Oh, it's Omer Mayer. It's
the
kid from Israel.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking of right there. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Omer Mayer is the kid from Israel. Yeah,
that's who I'm thinking of right there. Yes.
Yeah, you saw him in the FIBA tournament not that long ago. A couple of weeks ago, averaged, I think, close to 30 points. And just that all-around kind of a special player who can get his own shot off the dribble, pull up and shoot, quick, athletic. Not sure how good he can defend, but certainly a guy who's going to give you instant offense. You put him with that triumvirate of Lawyer, of course, Braid Smith, and TKR as well coming back. And, yeah, just another weapon for Purdue. Again, just a guy who's a versatile weapon and the kind of guy that could make it a special season, you know. The kind of guy, John, you think about when the shot clock's winding down, you need a bucket.
Yeah.
He can get a shot up and get your bucket.
It's funny. I was talking to Shaka Smart last week, the Marquette head coach, and he mentioned his philosophy of not going into the transfer portal and working in their own, and in large part that's been Matt's philosophy there. This year has been a little bit different, but necessary, and you have to find the right guys. So Mayer, in this case, how do you get the feeling that the guy is going to be right? Where do you think the lines are drawn there? Because I find that interesting in this era, this landscape of college basketball.
I guess nobody really knows for sure how a guy's chemistry is going to impact the guys already on campus, right? I mean, it's kind of, they always compare this portal stuff, transfer stuff, to speed dating, if you will.
Sure.
Shotgun wedding. So you figure out what you can figure out. You know, you do all the physical scouting, you know what you can do as a basketball player, but how will that dynamic personality work with the locker room? And will he be a good teammate and all those types of things? Nobody knows for sure. I guess at this point you have to trust Matt Penner. He's always been very judicious, very particular, very careful, very prudent with adding these transfer guys. He's never been a wholesale portal guy like you noted. We bring in typically one portal guy a year, and he really hasn't missed on finding a guy who's been a bad personality fit. Now the production's been, varying depending on who he's brought in, but I guess again you have to trust Matt and his ability to evaluate people on a quick basis. So we'll see. Like I said, physically he looks like a very special player.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if it's just like the old guy in me or not, but I said this to Shaka Smart last week. I have a great deal of admiration for those that are kind of hanging with what they know to be true, you know, to their rules and their thoughts on how to put together a team, meaning not going fully. And believe me, at the end of it all, whatever works, it works, and that's what matters the most. But I do have a great deal of admiration for those like Matt and like Shaka Smart that kind of stand up to what is, noticeably a major difference now in the college basketball landscape and how a team is put together.
Yeah, you got, I think, half of life, whoever you are, is knowing who you are, trusting your gut, and again, being confident in your own skin. And I think Matt definitely is that after 20 years on the job here. You know, John, he's had his fair share of ups and downs here in West Lafayette. The bottoms and the bottoms with some of those tournament losses that he suffered, especially to, Fairleigh Dickinson, St. Peter's, and then, of course, getting a national championship game. So at this point, I think he's kind of figured out what works for him, what works at Purdue. He's got a lot of support from the administration, starting with Mike Bobinski, the AD. Yeah, I think he has a well-fortified program from a financial standpoint as well. So, yeah, again, you got to trust his gut and what he does. And, he's got it rolling right now, John. I think they're going to be the pick to win the Big Ten coming up this coming season, 25-26, and maybe a preseason number one team, which has never happened. I looked that up. The last time the highest Purdue's ever been in the preseason is number 2, and that was going into the 87-88 season, which was the final season of the three amigos, Troy Lewis, Todd Mitchell, Stevens. They were number 2 that year. They got beat early on at home. They lost to Iowa State and Jeff Grayer in the preseason NIT.
Shout out to Jeff Grayer right there. Former Milwaukee Buck, Jeff Grayer too, right?
Yeah, Jeff Grayer. It's funny that season ended by getting beat by another Big 12 team.
That would be Kansas State and Mitch Richmond.
Yeah, up there in the Pontiac Silverdome, which is, again, now a Dubai-gone facility. But, yeah, so number 2 is the highest they've ever been in the preseason. Not that it means anything, it's just kind of fun for fans to think about. Being a preseason number 1 would be kind of cool for the fans.
Tom Dienhart joins us. A little college basketball, a little college football coming up in just a second. Tommy D's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I know that Mike DeCourcy was on the midday show, Query and Company, with Derek Schultz a little bit earlier, pretty much describing his disdain with letting everybody in, or expansion in this case, nearly everybody in expansion of the college basketball tournament. I'm with that particular point. Where are you with it? Because it looks like the wheels are turning and going into expansion here. Is it necessary according to you, and how will that change up the landscape?
It doesn't seem to me, but I think wasn't the expansion just going to be another day of the opening? What do they call it in Dayton, Ohio? The first 4. I think it was just going to be adding another day of that.
Is that necessary? Or I guess also to add in, is it completely unnecessary in this case?
I don't think it's. I think what they've got is nice. The formula's nice. The number's nice, and I think I'm not unique in thinking this, but what makes the tournament special are the mid-major schools, are the quote-unquote little guys from the Northeast conferences, from the mid-cons, from the West Coast Conference. The David versus Goliath, John, that's what makes that tournament special. Now, those are the games I remember. Those are the games I bet you remember, and those are the games people listen remember. I couldn't tell you when Duke beat Kentucky or when UCLA beat, whoever, Indiana in the tournament. You always remember those upsets when David beat Goliath, and I wouldn't want to see any of those schools from those smaller conferences, overall, get excluded in any way, shape, or form in lieu of bringing more at-large schools in from these large conferences. So I'm not totally sure what expansion will look like, if it will impact the quote-unquote little guy or not. But push comes to shove, John, I think I'm in your camp. I know Mike DeCourcy is a genius. If Mike thinks it shouldn't be expanded, I'm all with Mike DeCourcy.
It's Tom Dienhart with us. What's year 1 of the Barry Odom spectacular going to look like in football?
You talked about how Matt Painter was very judicious in his use of the portal.
Yeah.
My God. The 180 in football, Barry Odom has ripped this thing apart up here. He's brought in over 50 players from the portal. I think overall, John, there's close to 70 players here for the first time. It's only freshmen and some junior college transfers, too. I've got no earthly idea what to expect. I'll be honest with you. No idea. Camp starts July 31st. I mentioned Big Ten Media Days coming up like July 23rd to the 25th. Purdue kicks off August 30th. I think it's Ball State. No idea, my friend. We'll come together. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. I've never seen anything like it before. All these new faces. We'll see how it blends together. So it's going to be a big giant mystery, and everybody's going to have to come out and see what this thing looks like when the Cardinals roll in town.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Just transfer portal. I guess you would look at it, and considering what that group looked like a year ago, I guess it would make sense to go ahead and rip that page out and have a new level of dialogue page-wise with this group and this roster.
Yeah, that wasn't a 1-11 team last year. Make no mistake about it. If you want to look at where some of those players who left here landed, places like Clemson, and SMU, and Ohio State, and Oregon, there were some prettier players on that team last year. I just don't think they were coached very well overall. I don't think the schemes were that good either. They all left. They all hit the bricks. Barry Odom had to do something, right? So I guess you have to trust Barry Odom like we trust Matt Painter. Barry Odom was at UNLV the last 2 years, not exactly a bastion for football. And he did the same thing out there in Sin City, ripped that roster apart 2 years in a row. He brought in over 50 players and had a lot of success. Went to 2 back-to-back Mountain West Conference championship games. So he seems like he kind of knows what he's doing, navigating the portal. We'll see if that translated here pretty soon in West Lafayette.
So I saw Matt at I think it was a finals game or the Eastern Conference Finals game at the field house. He was rocking the gold T-shirt. He put that bad boy on.
I know people said, "What a good sport! He actually put the T-shirt on." I wonder how many other Division I head coaches would have done that. That's Matt Painter, right?
Yeah,
that's Matt Painter. Right?
Yeah, he's just a regular dude, man. He is, seriously. You're not going to find a more compatible with anybody regular dude out there that's a high-level coach than you are going to find with him. That's why I like having him on, because you just end up having kind of a bar stool or, a hanging out in the backyard or, whatever kind of conversation, as opposed to having to be all uptight about stuff. So, no.
Next time he's on, ask him who his favorite character was in White Shadow. I bet he's got one.
You don't think will he say Coolidge or Salami?
I bet he says Coolidge.
I bet he does. Everybody's favorite was Coolidge. See, I thought Haywood was a really good point guard. I'd go with Haywood right there.
Haywood, maybe he's more of a Haywood guy. Was there a Goldstein guy too with glasses?
Goldstein, yes. I mean they pretty much, I mentioned the landscape earlier. They pretty much ran the landscape. They had Gomez. Go was Gomez. Right?
Go, yes. And you know what, John? They always taught you a lesson too.
I was always upset when the team picture had the guy that wore the sunglasses and had the hat on. I go, man, you got to take the sunglasses. There's zero way a hardcore coach like Ken Howard is letting somebody wear sunglasses and a hat in the team photo. None.
I can see that. I can't remember what his character's name was in the show though.
Hook. His name was Kevin. I think the actor was Kevin Hooks in that, right?
I got to look that up once we get off this call here, and I'm curious.
What put you into the White Shadow mode right there?
I don't know, because I was just kind of trying to take this thing full circle when we started talking about Quinn.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. Kind of bringing you back to where we started, John.
I believe his name was Thorpe.
Oh, there you go.
Kevin Hooks was Thorpe.
I can hear Ken Howard yelling, Thorpe! Run some suicides for me, or whatever those things they ran.
Thomas Carter played James Hollywood Hayward that I talked about. There's Ricardo Gogo Gomez.
Yeah.
And Abner Goldstein. Like I said, they went pretty much across the board on this bad boy. So
Maybe they had the Van Patten kid on there, too. What was his name?
Tim Van Patten was Mario Salami Petrino.
Salami. That's
I believe, was it Tim Van Patten that went on, or was it another Van Patten? I get them all mixed up. That did the direction for The Sopranos. A lot of direction for The Sopranos.
Oh.
Was he that Van Patten I'm thinking of?
I never knew about that. Could be. I wasn't aware of it. I'll have to look into that too.
I believe he did do some directorial work on The Sopranos.
Nice.
Hey, listen, if you're going to ask about the Van Patten family, you better ask me. Give me a call. I got all the info you need.
Well, good thing the White Shadow wasn't the peak of his career, it sounds like, right?
That's no doubt. Well, was there another one that was a poker player? Which Van Patten was the poker player and still is?
You got the Van Patten knowledge beat. I've got no idea. I remember Dick Van Patten from that show. I think 8 is Enough.
Oh, yeah. He was the patriarch of that family in Sacramento, California. 8 is Enough. All right.
That little bull haircut.
You're going to have everybody handled as far as Vegas work and the Big Ten Media Days that are forthcoming at the end of this month?
I'll be headed out there. I want to say the 23rd. I'm flying out of the West Lafayette International Airport, John. So, man, I'll send you a text to turn your fan on, point north toward O'Hare Airport. How deep to see how that works out. I'm going to try to patronize that little airport and then airline out there, fly up to O'Hare, then get on the Big Bird and go out to Vegas. So, yeah, I think I'm heading out the 23rd to the 24th. So, Purdue goes the last day. I know that. 3 days, 6 teams a day. And we shall see what the turnout's like out there. Mandalay Bay.
Oh, man.
So, I'm not really a gambler. I'm certainly going to people watch and hopefully get a couple good meals.
What's your over-under on wins for the Boilermaker football program this year?
3.5. How about that?
Did you say 3.5?
3.5.
Gotcha. Makes
Maybe
sense.
3. They got the first 3 at home. They got to win the first 2 if you want any chance to do that. Ball State and SIU.
Yeah.
Right? And then USC comes. So what's that third win going to be? they have Rutgers for homecoming. Maybe. They got to go to Northwestern, maybe. But then they got to go to Minnesota. They got to go to Washington. They got to go to Notre Dame. They got to go to Michigan. Ohio State comes here. So it's a lot of heavy lifting. 2 wins look really sure, but where would that third win come from? That's the conundrum. And John, too, Illinois and Indiana.
Yeah.
So those are teams that are top 10, top 15. They have to both come to West Lafayette this year. So, man, Purdue's 2 main rivals have it rolling right now. So does Purdue have any shot against them? I don't know.
Steve Winbund says Vince Van Patten is the poker player right there. He was also he was married once upon a time to somebody incredibly hot, too. I'll have to look that up. Like all the Van Pattens were tripping the light fantastic with their chicks. Well done, Van Pattens.
The last one, not to get farther down this rabbit hole, Christy McNichol. Whatever happened to Christy McNichol?
Well, I think she had some drug issues before, during, and after Empty Nest. Most synonymous with what 1980s film, alongside Tatum O'Neal and Matt Dillon. You got it?
I don't. What is it?
Little Darlings. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome, Tommy D.
She was every 7th and 8th grade boy's heartthrob, wasn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. She and her character and Tatum O'Neal were having a contest to see who could have sex first.
Oh, okay. And I bet you, John, I bet you. I bet you had. Did you have that Sarah Foster post on?
Hey, if you need information, you know where to go. I appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Be good, my friend.
You're right back at you. Tom Dienhart of Golden Black Illustrated on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. James says to break, no more little darlings conversation. Got chances for you to win. Mike Chappell brings on the Colts, top of the hour, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
couldn't possibly be any dumber. You go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, James, the smoke that was, I don't know if they're still married or not, the Vince Van Patten, the poker player from the Van Patten family. Look up Betsy Russell.
Betsy Russell?
Look up Betsy Russell from the film Private School in 1983, and then thank me later.
Alrighty.
Betsy Russell. Probably, I think it's fair to say, the most smoke Betsy of all time. I don't know a lot of Betsy's out there. I can't imagine there's ever been a more smokedified Betsy than Betsy Russell.
Well, one of the first things that pops up is her in a bath towel and nothing else.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. You weren't lying.
Let me tell you. Matthew Modine and Phoebe Cates in Private School with Betsy Russell. Stole the show.
Matthew Modine's a pretty good actor, too. I like him.
There you go.
He's in Stranger Things as well. So
is he really in Stranger Things? When's that coming back? That's coming back here relatively soon, right?
I'm not sure
Things? I should ask my daughter. Daughter's a big fan of Stranger Things.
It looks like it is starting November 26th.
Whose daughter is in Stranger Things? Some famous actress.
Oh,
Uma Thurman. Oh, Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, Maya Hawke.
Yeah, Maya
his daughter.
Hawke.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter, Maya. David writes this, dig the Jeff Grayer reference. My 4 years in Ames were the Jeff Grayer years. Great player. He was a rim rocker, Jeff Grayer. We did something called dice basketball back in the day, and I had Jeff Grayer. These are the three players I remember on my dice basketball. This is how highbrow basketball I was. Dice basketball, where you rolled dice, and I can vaguely remember how we played it. And it would probably be in this era incredibly stupid. But dice basketball, I had Jeff Grayer. My backcourt, two Temple players, Nate Blackwell and Mark Macon. Dice basketball. Jim McCann's in Southern California. JMV, I'm hoping a lot of Pacer fans enjoyed this year's journey and will carry a bunch of memories forward. I would share a dating analogy, but Carol's right here listening. Shout out to Carol for listening. Now, I have a deeply rooted belief not to make it to the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't think this Pacer team is going to be the disaster that everybody thinks. And a lot of those people that believe that are people here. I give a little bit of more credit as to why I like this team. And again, highlighting the word team. I just don't think it all disappears. Major losses, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it all disappears that easily. I'll give more credit to the guys that are still going to be a part of the epicenter of this group. BT writes this, JMV, I found these two things, me and you and a dog named Boo. Yeah, the Lobo album from the 1970s. And about Nick Gilder and Hot Child in the City. Well done, BT. Zero wrong with that right there. JMV, I completely agree with you right there. As far as your Pacer approach. Hey, listen, maybe it goes down in flames, but you know, a lot of you are banking on this being a pass type of season. I just don't think you're giving credit where credit is due for this group overall. Not just you're going to start until you see the product, the finished product, or at least the product in action. But I do believe in it. All right, 5:30. We're about less than an hour away from the Summer League game. Pacers' first Summer League game is in Vegas versus Cleveland. That is coming up at 5:30 today, so we'll give you a couple of updates along the way. Now, I think it's supposed to be, it's not going to be on, it's not on FanDuel TV.
It doesn't look like it, no. Looks like we're going to have
The Reds?
Yep.
So that's where it would be on FanDuel? Why would it be?
I believe so. At least that's what Eddie Garrison said when he was leaving the studio.
No NBA TV? Why can't we see it on NBA TV? Because I think that's where it's supposed to be, right? NBA TV? Am I wrong about that? Do we not get NBA TV here? I don't know.
I can also look that up, too.
It's weird that TV's never on in here. We sit here, and I know it's never on because it's not allowed to play in the background of Jake right there when he's in studio. Reds do have a 5-10. By the way, shout out to the Reds. Andrew Abbott was studly last night. Nick Lodolo, I think, gets it for the Reds and the Marlins. They close out that series at 5-10 in a late afternoon affair. James?
We do not get NBA TV in here.
Why would we? Why would you need NBA TV in a market on a sports station and the flagship station of the Pacers? It makes perfectly good sense. Cubs a winner this afternoon, 8-1. That is a final over the Twins. And the Orioles 3-1 earlier this afternoon and a victory over the Mets. I believe the Orioles and Mets is the second part of a double dip between those two teams.
We did just have a caller say that according to his app, that the game will be on his NBA TV app, I guess, or NBA app, that It will be on the FanDuel Sports Network, but we still won't get it in here because I already looked and it's going to be playing the Reds game in here.
All right. Yeah, I don't know how interesting the whole Summer League thing is going to be, but you probably will see some bits and pieces that will hopefully transform into being rotational guys. I am kind of interested in guys like Quentin Jackson and guys like Johnny Furphy. And no doubt Cam Jones, second-round selection. I know a lot of you probably for the first time are going to get a look-see at Taylor Peter out of Liberty. Richie McKay, last week, his head coach, joined the show to talk about his whole journey to Liberty and as a second-round selection. And Shaka Smart, as I mentioned a little bit earlier as well, the Marquette head coach, we talked about his guy, Cam Jones, last Thursday as well. That kind of gets lost in the shuffle because it was a getaway day, but both the coaches joined us on the show, and it was outstanding. So if you missed any of it, breakdowns of those two players and the expectations from their collegiate coaches. 107.5, thefan.com. Tomorrow's show, Chad Buchanan, live from Las Vegas, will join us, the Pacers general manager, for the first time. We're going to go over a lot of things. Now, be ready for that. He actually sent me a text over the weekend, and it said, "Are you mad at us?" I love that. Are you mad at us? I'm not. I'm not mad. I am not mad. I do, as Paul Harvey famously said, want to hear the rest of the story because there are still, I think, significant pieces. But no, mad is not being me. Pat Sullivan's in studio tomorrow. We will resume hashtag Ask Pat. We are, the second week into July, and we have had one hashtag Ask Pat Sullivan in the summertime. That's amazing. Because of what all is going on. But hashtag Ask Pat J. Ryan is tomorrow. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, is coming up tomorrow as well. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Dave Matthews Band tickets, and we're not too far away from the start of camp. So the Colts report on the 22nd. That's a Tuesday, I believe, right? The 23rd is when they have that first practice. That is on a Wednesday. Closer and closer. And my thoughts in that first segment of the show, I'll deliver those to Mike Chappell coming up at the top of the hour. So don't go anywhere. Mike Chappell, top of the hour, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
school. He was wearing sweatpants. It was really embarrassing, so this song goes out to him.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
He wants to go to Sounds of the Summer at the Indiana State Fair. Got a couple for you right here. This is Toto in Africa, but Sounds of Summer, 2 tickets can be yours now. 239-1070, number 9 is going to go on us. Toto right now is not bad. James.
If I'm not mistaken, it's actually 4 passes.
4 passes. Give that to Doug Shelton over there. Does Doug Shelton want him? All right, who's on here right now? You will not owe me a cocktail because I don't know if I will be out there doing a JMV takeover on a Saturday night during the State Fair. I don't know if I'm going to be out there for Sounds of the Summer, but that is going to be awesome, man. The Indiana State Fair, early August. What is that? August 1 is the beginning of that. So, yeah, there you go for Sounds of Summer. I think Doug Shelton actually got with me. He wants to go to this, but he wanted a Yes Sir shirt. And I have the Yes Sir shirt for me, but he says he already has one. And that's a thought. Yeah, we talked to Tom Dienhart at length about the expansion possibility that is looming for the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you got to be young to really want it, and if the older generation really cares. I've mentioned this before. I am completely cool where it is right now, and not even the year before last, when my Sycamores were left out of the dance and went to the NIT. Not even that sways me because, honestly, I thought the NIT was perfect for Sycamore fans. That's not a defeatist mentality. That's just the truth. That was more exciting with what that entailed, having home games and success all the way to the NIT final and losing to Seton Hall. And I think going to Dayton and maybe getting bounced by a team in a play-in. That is just me. I know everybody does not buy that, and I know a lot of people would like to see the expansion. I for one, am not one. JMV, I missed the old segment, hashtag Ask Pat with Pat Sullivan, and he plans to run it back. In fact, it is going to be run back on tomorrow's show. For the second time this year, we did it 2 weeks ago, then Pat went on vacation. But he is back, and we'll do hashtag Ask Pat coming up at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And Chad Buchanan live from Las Vegas, about 30-plus minutes away from the start of Summer League for the Pacers, the Cavaliers and the Pacers. And the Pacer general manager joins us from Vegas, I should say, coming up tomorrow. So that should be one hell of a time. Hey, JMV, I heard you talking about the Colts a little bit earlier, too. I don't think it truly just comes down to quarterback play, although quarterback play is essential and is necessary. But I, like you, think this roster should be better than what it has shown and maybe should be better than what Vegas odds have it at the over-under at 7.5. What say you? I don't know if it is going to be better. Do I think it is capable of being better? And yes, does a lot of that ride on the quarterback? It just does in the NFL. Is there a lot of reason to believe in that position until further notice? No. But I think that there are some positions, and those skill positions, whether you're talking about tight end or wide receiver, that should get some love. And the secondary should get some love. At safety, at corner, needs with Mooney, needs with Bynum that were addressed. And I do have expectations there. And I think you go into this season knowing this to be true, that if expectations aren't met, then it will be like the old school Etch-a-Sketch. You have everything written down on that going into 2025 and this season and the start of camp. And if it doesn't pan out, then everybody's toast. And you pull that page up and it all disappears. And then the page starts next year blank. And I've argued before that the time has been long since past, but that's how this is all going to play out. I think you have really within this division, certainly, and with this schedule, ample reason. I'm not suggesting you should expect it, but it should be finally doing something or bust. I think that's how it ultimately breaks down. We'll discuss that with Mike Chappell coming up here at the top of the hour. I mentioned tomorrow's show, hashtag Ask Pat. Pat Sullivan in studio with me and Chad Buchanan. Pacers general manager live from Las Vegas. All right, 239-1070. If you missed it yesterday, Brooks Barnheiser of OKC, their second-round pick, joined us. In fact, Oklahoma City and the Pacers match up in the Summer League coming up on Saturday late afternoon in Las Vegas. And if you missed OKC, they now have 3 dudes because Jalen Williams got extended today. Chet Holmgren extended yesterday. SGA, they did a week prior. 3 players in excess of $880 million. And I'm assuming for everybody, it all seems worth it because they're the champions. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Mike Chappell at the top of the hour. A lot of Colts conversation as we get closer and closer to the start of camp. Again, the 22nd is the report date. The 23rd is their first practice, and so many of our shows will be up there at Grant Park in Westfield for you. But that's when it starts, and Mike Chappell will get into it with us coming up on the other side. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Collect them, trade them, or just enjoy them.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, this sounds like Foo Fighters to me right here. Yeah, for those of you asking, we are going to do a JMV takeover live at the State Fair on a Saturday night. I think that will be hellaciously fun. Who's in? Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day. Speaking of fun, make sure you get your horse. The race happens coming up here in about 35 or so minutes. 50-50 betting and dining from Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. We also have Dave Matthews Band tickets. They go back-to-back Friday and Saturday at Ruoff. By the way, too, they always coincide, those shows at Mystic Waters Campground, with one hellaciously awesome weekend. Our guy Brent Halverson up there. So check it out. It's probably sold out, but I know the festivities will be all over the place up there. So check it out off of I-69 in Pendleton. Mystic Waters Campground will do a JMV takeover live once again for the third straight year on Labor Day weekend. And may even add one more on the road before we are said and done. So it should be fun. Pacers Summer League debut is coming up at the bottom of the hour in Vegas versus Cleveland. We'll keep you updated on that. Pacers in OKC and our friend Brooks Barnheiser for OKC. That's coming up on Saturday at 5:30 in the afternoon. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, joins us on the show coming up tomorrow. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from CBS 4 and Fox 59, as we get closer and closer, the 22nd to report, the 23rd for the first practice at Grand Park in Westfield for the Colts. Mike Chappell joins us now. Closer and closer, Mike.
Yeah, I got about 2 weeks before we get busy. This is my last week of kind of being off, and then next week get back on the clock. And it's just amazing how quickly the calendar flips.
Yes.
From month to month and season to season. And I can remember when I took my month off, I'm thinking, hey, I got 4 weeks to do not a lot, which I didn't do a lot. And here it's about over with. So it just, things fly by, and I'm looking forward to it because I'm so curious what this team does and how they do it one way or the other.
Yeah, here's what's funny about it, too. It's even quicker considering the depth all the way to a seventh and decisive game of the NBA Finals the Pacers went. I mean, really,
right.
This is almost as seamless as we've ever had it with sports around here this summer.
Well, and then you know, watching the Fever and doing whatever the hell they're doing, they haven't got their act together yet because of injuries to Caitlin Clark. But no, it's and I still fiddle around trying to get behind the Reds. And all they are is a tease. They're a major tease. But, yeah, it did help for the Pacers to have that long run. It shortened our off season, my off season, because you're invested. As we've said, I understand people who don't buy into the value of pro franchises and all that, but I'm telling you, when the pro franchise, either one or both, are successful, man, there's a buzz. And that's why I'm hoping the Colts get their act together sooner rather than later, because the buzz about an NBA or an NFL team is really incredible, and it's been a while since we've had that.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the outset of this show. I kind of put that in my opening monologue about this Colts team. I mean, this is the final opportunity to find something. And honestly, Mike, you know, coming off the triumphs this season and what the Pacers have brought, coming off of, you know, the loss and the passing of Jim Irsay, I mean, if there was a better time, you know, obviously if Jim were still around, you would rather it be the case. But I guess what I'm trying to say is now is certainly the time, because after the whole slate gets wiped clean if expectations aren't met. So I guess why not this year, with the exception of, you know, unknowing the quarterback circumstances as we start camp here.
Yeah, I think the possibilities run the gamut on how this goes this year, and that translates into next off season, the level of moves or non moves, and it will all be based on how the season goes. And I'm guessing I can see a scenario where they don't make the playoffs and they're still status quo, but not really. I mean, and I say playoffs, I can see them having a very good year and not making the playoffs. The whole thing is show that this organization is headed in the right direction with this group of people, coaches, assistant coaches, scouts, and players. That's all. That's what it's about. Again, there's a scenario to where they have a very good season. They don't make the playoffs because a bunch of other teams have very good seasons, and you're really, really satisfied. Not satisfied, but you like the way that the direction of the team is. Now that's the odds are against that, but making the playoffs with the quarterback with Richardson, it sort of has to be Richardson in my mind. It just does. But that way you can say, yeah, this is going to work. And what's held us back the last couple of years, as everybody knows, is the quarterback has been hurt and inefficient. Well, now he's got his act together. He stayed on the field for, 15 games, and look what they did. And you can go forward without blowing it up, because I don't know how you go into next off season, not feeling good about your franchise and just making a change here or there. I just think that if you make changes, if the daughters make changes in the off season, they will be significant changes. I don't see how they don't make significant change. It's either no changes or significant changes. I just don't think you take a tweak here and there to the roster and to the organization.
Yeah, he's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 on Fox 59 of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Our shows will be up there a number of times. Report date the 22nd. First practice the 23rd. You'll mix in some matchups with the Packers here and the Ravens, I think, on the road. And we'll get to mid-August and break camp for the Colts up at Grant Park in Westfield. Mike's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I often fall into the category of what don't you like about this team, and I think we've overanalyzed that to a point now. I want to ask you, what do you like about this team going in to the start of camp in a couple of weeks?
Oh, a lot. The things I don't like, we've talked about it. I don't like the quarterback situation. I don't like the uncertainty. I don't like the linebackers. The situation as a group. Don't take that personal, Zaire. I think he's an excellent linebacker.
He's gonna get on X right now and call you out if you're not careful.
That's why I went back on that. I think he's excellent. He just needs help. I like a lot of the other things. I like the running backs. I think Jonathan Taylor is top 5. And they've got interesting backups. And if he gives them 15 games, he's going to rush for, 1,400 yards. And that's a good season. That should be a playoff season. I like the receivers. I like the depth of receivers. I wish they had an absolute stud number one, but there's only so many Justin Jeffersons and Jamar Chases. I like the group. I like Pitt at the top coming back, being healthy. And if A.D. Mitchell can get his act together, it's a really, really good group. Offensive line, I'm not quite as bullish. Pro Football Focus has them ranked the top, the number 5 offensive line. I'm not there because you lose 2 starters, two high-level starters, and you're replacing them with 2 second-year players. I think there's good promise there, but I need to see it. Tight ends, it's tight end with Tyler Warren, and in defense, I like the defensive line. I like the secondary. They still need a safety, but I just think they've got a good roster. I think they got a good roster that is so dependent, like every other team, so dependent on getting acceptable play by the quarterback. And everything we talk about, it always is going to default to quarterback. But other than that, again, I just think it's a good roster. I think it's a playoff roster if they stay healthy, they don't have that bad injury to a key player, and they get whatever you want to term competent. As long as they get competent play from the quarterback, this should be a team that challenges Houston and should challenge for a playoff position.
We're assuming here Gonzalez and Bortolini go into those positions along the offensive line you described with the exodus of two veteran players. Is there an expectation? Because, one of the tremendous assets that still remain with this team is that of Jonathan Taylor. Do you see there being an effect with that loss and kind of the understanding work in progress that there will be, on the right side of that interior of the offensive line this season?
Well, yeah, but I think we saw enough from Bortolini and Gonzalez to say these guys have a chance to be pretty good. It's not like they played one or two games and they were okay. They played extended time, and they looked like rookies at times, but they also played pretty well. And this offense operated pretty well most of the time. The run game was pretty consistent. So I'm confident they'll be okay. Now, the depth is an issue. I think depth is an issue. The third tackle is an issue, and interior depth. It's always offensive line depth is always an issue. So I think it's got a chance to be pretty good. I'm not going to say top 5 like that one site did. I think that's a bit of a leap. But boy, when you bring back Bernard Ryman, who's getting better every season, and Quentin's, he's simply all pro, and to get Braden Smith back, let's keep in mind he missed the last whatever it was month and a half of the season for personal reasons, and getting him back is huge. When he is playing at his level, he's pretty good. Just maybe right below Pro Bowl level good. So I like the line, but the lack of depth on the edge at tackle, proven depth at tackle, concerns me. But every team that you talk to, when you break down positions, they have issues with depth at offensive line because there's just not enough really good offensive linemen to go around. But I like the front line players, and hopefully that they develop depth as they go along.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We know what they did in the secondary, paid a lot of money in free agency. Mooney, Charvarius Ward, Cam Bynum, both have been on the show. We talked about their expectations, very early stages when they were both signed, going back a couple of months ago. But I want to talk about a couple of holdovers at the cornerback and at the safety position, one being Nick Cross and the other being Jalen Jones. The level of belief in both, when a lot of people are probably overflowing in belief with the two free agent signees at those positions.
I think Jalen Jones has gotten better. I think he's sort of up and down as a rookie, as rookies are. And that corner has to be, outside of quarterback, has to be the hardest position to play because by and large you're out there. The old out there on an island type of thing. He held up pretty well. He's gotten better. And I think bringing in Charvarius Ward allows him to. He's not the top guy now. I don't. And Kenny Moore's in the group as well. He sort of gives you the ability to play three corners and not really worry about it. And then with Juju Brents, you don't know what to expect from him. But I like those guys. And Nick Cross, he was under the microscope going into the last training camp. Who's going to be the other safety and all that with Blackman, and he not only grabbed the position, but he maximized it. I mean, he was solid all year, and now he's got a better running mate at safety, an upgraded safety over Blackman. So I have good optimism for both those guys. And again, I think they need a third safety, that you would trust, that's proven it over time. And Rodney Thomas really hasn't, and Daniel Scott's been injured. So, but again, at the front, I like those guys, and the two guys you mentioned, I'm really kind of high on.
All right, we haven't talked about this whatsoever, but is there going to be a point at the season when people go, man, we miss Matt Gay?
Well, yeah, you talked about I don't say blind faith. That's not quite. But having faith in someone
was pretty damn close to it, buddy. That's pretty damn close to it. Yeah.
He's kicked 5 balls in the regular season in his career. He's 5 for 5, and they had him last off season, which is a plus. But yeah, it is kind of a leap of faith to go from a guy, Matt Gay, and his sin was that he couldn't convert 50-yarders. You couldn't trust him. Now, he was perfect inside of 49 or 49 on in, but it's obvious. It's put so much pressure on the coordinator, meaning Steichen, to how do you call plays when you get around the 40? You know, it's a fourth down. What do you do? And they just simply no longer trusted Matt Gay. They just didn't. And money was an issue. Yes, I don't get too hung up on that because it's not massive money. But now you're going with Schrader, and they like what they've seen. But boy, wouldn't you like to see more? Any other position, I bet, outside of it, bringing in Warren as your tight end as a rookie, you want more. You want more of a resume. But this is what you got. Again, at least they know him. They've seen him up close. They've seen how he interacts and how he handles himself at practice. So I guess you'd say with their limited experience that they have on him, they're convinced he's the guy. But then they bring in the rookie to push him. And the rookie kid's got great leg length, leg strength, but accuracy is an issue. But so yeah, we're going to see. How are you not a little bit concerned over not knowing what you've got? And you just got rid of somebody that you couldn't trust, and now you're putting faith in someone with, I was going to say one season, but 5 kicks on his resume. So when he's had the chance, he's performed. You just wish the guy had a little bit more on his resume than he does, but this is where they are.
So have you allowed yourself at all to look up veteran place kickers that currently do not have gigs, just in case? Just out of curiosity. No,
I can't go there. It's too. Now when he's 2 for 6 to start the season, I'll be looking, or either one of them. But no, I can't. Boy, I can't do that because just like I can't see any veteran quarterbacks in case both of these guys slip on a banana peel. No, have you? I can't imagine.
I just like the names that, and I don't even know if they landed any place. Like McManus or Folk or Prater. Are those guys anywhere? I haven't looked. Those are the guys that come to mind there.
Well, see, and that's what you get, and you can't.
Is Zerline anywhere these days?
I may be on vacation. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe on vacation. I think they're all on vacation right now. But yeah.
But I'm telling you, when you're Chris Ballard and the personnel guys, you have a list.
Yeah, better.
At every position. Yeah. Well, you just have to. You just have to. Whether it's an offensive lineman, a tackle, a guard, a defensive tackle, you've got a list of guys that are available on your board because you never know what's going to happen. What was it, a couple of years ago when Sanchez blows out his Achilles running sprints in training camp? You got to know possibilities to guard against the unexpected, and that could mean the unexpected meaning this guy didn't pan out. So they have options 1, 2, 3, and the further you get down your options on free agents, the worse it is. It just is. As I've always said, guys are out there for a reason. They're available for a reason. Generally, this time of year, they're coming off injury. They're a little too old. There's very few. There's a few, but there's very few really good free agents out there that you'd say this guy could come in and help us. There's a few, and I wish they'd find a safety and a linebacker to do that. But right now, this is your team. But they've always got guys just in case on speed dial, just in case something happens. They always do. You have to.
Speed dial. So
yes,
I'm assuming we're all going to be worn out with the breakdown of every single play, every single throw of these quarterbacks, right?
Well, and that's where we are. It's and people can make fun of it and all this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But no, we're all going to be out there charting what the quarterbacks are on 7-on-7, 11-on-11, and boy, this guy threw a bad pass at a linebacker intercepted or whatever, and because that's all we've got. We're going to have 13 practices, I think it is, to do our evaluation, to give our eye test to it, and we'll probably differ with what the coaches see, but that's what we see. It's the same with receivers. What does A.D. Mitchell look like? Well, last year he looked pretty damn good. In training camp, he was pretty good, and then the season came and things didn't work out well. But yeah, we're going to be worn out on quarterbacks all season. I'm convinced of that. It's going to start with training camp. How many reps does Richardson take? Are they easy to man? And does he throw hard one day and he's back off the next? And then when the season gets here, whoever the starter is, well, are they looking over their shoulder and how quick will the hook be? Because that situation has been created. Everything is quarterback centric as it should be. And when you've got two guys that right now you don't know who your starter is, that's not a good thing. It just isn't. And right now we've got two question marks at two positions that you don't want competition, and that's quarterback and field goal kicker. You really ideally want to know who your guy is at both spots. They don't, but that's what training camp and the preseason games are going to be for. But if people get worn out by us writing about quarterbacks, well, I'm sorry. We're telling you right now, we're going to talk about and write about quarterbacks because that's all that matters with this team right now.
We'll double back once the season's officially underway and reevaluate, because I think we have a bet, right, regarding how many times the roof is going to be open at the beginning of the season.
And I don't remember. You can remind me because my mind is mush most of the time.
I will. But do you look at this schedule as of right now and believe this for this team to be winnable? Like, I know the Vegas odds are 7.5 over under. You think that these games, that they look winnable? Is this a navigatable type of schedule in your opinion?
Early it is. Miami, Denver at home, Tennessee on the road. Tennessee, I mean, who knows what they're going to be. And this is if you're any good. The Rams are going to be tough, and then the Raiders at home, and then Arizona. I like the schedule. If you're going to be any good, by the time you get to, the Berlin game, the really tough games are going to be on the road with the Rams and the Chargers. The rest of them at Pittsburgh, I don't know. I mean, okay, if Rodgers is playing well, but doggone, you had better get off to a good start. I'm not going to put must win on it like you will.
Those first 2 weeks are home games. Oh my God, you got to have them.
That's what I'm saying. Four of the first 6 are at home.
Yeah,
and one on the road is Tennessee. So if you are what you think you are and need to be, then you get off to a good start, and then you kind of buckle down and try to find some wins the second half of the season. That's 7.5. Vegas knows what they're doing. That's a really good number because this season is either going to work or it's not. I just don't know. There's going to be an in between a 7-win season. It's going to be boom or bust. And I hope it's a good season because they're so much easier to navigate from a writer, unless you're a columnist. Bob Kravitz loves chaos. He does, and God bless him. I understand that. I don't. I like, get the job done and let's go out and have a good season and everybody's, smiling. But it's either going to work or it won't, as dumb as that sounds. I just don't see that middle ground. Because I think if the quarterbacks work, this can be a decent team. Not a great team, not a very good team, but a good team. But my goodness, it's all about the quarterback and Jonathan Taylor staying healthy.
It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 on Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. We're inching closer and closer to the start. Report date the 22nd. First practice the 23rd. Grand Park in Westfield for the Colts. Training Camp 2025. And Mike's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Mike, I always appreciate that. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. Stay cool, and we'll do it again next Thursday.
Looking forward to it. Be well.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. About 15 minutes away from the Harrah's Park race of the day. Did you sign up? Did you get your horse? 50-50 in betting and dining on the line here for the Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. Don't go anywhere. Back after this. And by the way, I'll give you the starting lineups for the Pacers in their initial Summer League contest with Cleveland. That on the other side with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And the beat goes on. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Yeah, Pacers underway officially here in the Summer League game. In Vegas, that is the number one matchup. 35-25 Cavaliers after one quarter of play. Now, this is according to Tony East, who's keeping track. Furphy with some nice plays. I can't watch it. We can't watch it right now. The starting lineup, by the way, too, and this was, we'll give credit here to Tony East because this is where I saw it. Philip Wheeler, Johnny Furphy, Ray J. Dennis, Enrique Freeman, and Cam Jones. The starters for Summer League game number 1, 35-25 Cavaliers after one quarter. Described as not much else exciting for the Pacers in that period. Their defense was rough, especially in transition. Ray J. Dennis, 9 points and 3 assists as they start out right now. Oh, I saw this a little bit earlier. Lee Elia evidently has passed away. The former Cubs manager, if you remember, going on that infamous tirade back when he was the Cubs manager about everybody that comes out to Wrigley Field. Hey, speaking of coming out, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan Invitational Golf Outing. We would love to see you. Presented by Franciscan Health. That's Thursday, August the 7th with a tee time of 10 a.m. The Legends Golf Club in Franklin. Have you guys got this thing together? Signed up? Get your foursome intact, because I promise you, and when I promise something like a good time, I deliver damn straight a good time. We'll all be out there for a day of golf and fun, all in support of the Franciscan Foundation. So if you've yet to sign up, sign up. August the 7th, 10 a.m., Legends Golf Club in Franklin. Again, I have promised you an incredible time. An incredible time will be had by all. Hey, don't jack around with this. Get signed up. Because when I promise a good time and I say, yeah, you know what, you got to be a part of this, then you got to sign up and be a part of this. Get your foursome together right now. If you want to be a part of it, just let me know. Let us know. We would love to see you down there. Legends Golf Club in Franklin, Thursday, August the 7th. Tee time, 10 a.m., the Fan Invitational Golf Outing presented by Franciscan Health. Who's in? Who is ready to be a part of it? If you're not, I'm going to be disappointed. Don't disappoint me on this. It will be, I promise, a fantastic time. Log on 1075thefan.com and get yourself started today. Chad Buchanan, Pacers General Manager, coming up on the show tomorrow. The return of hashtag Ask Pat. Pat Sullivan in studio. And I'm assuming we'll have some incredible giveaways with hashtag Ask Pat. That is officially underway again on this show tomorrow. Remember, Pat started 2 weeks ago, then went on vacation. But Pat is back in studio with hashtag Ask Pat tomorrow. 4 o'clock hour for Pat and Chad Buchanan, Pacers General Manager, live from Las Vegas with all the questions that I have for him loaded up and ready to go in the 5 o'clock hour. That is coming up tomorrow. Now, I mentioned Summer League play for the Pacers underway, down 10 after the first quarter out in Las Vegas to the Cavaliers. Reds on the power of an Austin Hayes RBI single, scoring Ellie De La Cruz 1-0 over the Marlins right now, as they now get ready to bat in the bottom half of the second inning. The second of two, Mets 2, Orioles 0. Again, I mentioned that's a double dip. The Orioles game 1 winners 3-1. And the Cubs 8-1 over the Twins earlier this afternoon as well. Everything else looks to be coming up a little bit later on tonight, including the Guardians and the White Sox and the Nationals and the Cardinals for regional interest right there. Hey, JMV, you and Chappell talking about the Colts reminds me of something, too. We haven't really done a lot of conversation about this Colts team and what they do well. What do you think they're going to do well? Well, clearly, and I brought this up before, there was a hard target in that secondary at both corner and at safety. So I think you couple that with the Mooney and Jalen Jones, you couple, and obviously Kenny Moore, but you also put that with safeties because you get Bynum added with Nick Cross. There's a reason behind that. And that's where my expectation is going to be. I think we always kind of lean on, well, what are they going to do up front? And there's no doubt about that. Leatu Latu has to show significant progress in year number 2 in edge pressure. But I think the secondary is, I think out of all of it, non-quarterback description division here, I think the secondary is the one that I am most interested to see. And how that goes with first-year coordinator here, Lou Anarumo. I know we normally start the conversation with, well, this is what sucks. But I wanted to start that with Mike a little bit earlier about, okay, I think we all have, again, understood what we believe is going to suck and what has to get better. But what are you excited about seeing? You know, what's good, like Apollo 13 reference. You know, what's good on the ship right now? And that's why I mentioned that in the secondary. So that is where we start. All right, 50-50 betting and dining. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. That is in Anderson. You know it to be true. Hopefully you have a horse. We do this Tuesday through Friday here on The Fan. It's the Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. 50 in betting, 50 in dining. Hopefully you have your horse because it is time to race. Here it is on a Thursday, your Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day.
Falcon.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You go back to back. Dave Matthews Band. Friday and Saturday. Ruoff, who's going? If you're not, I've got tickets for you right now. Have you been before? How many times in the past have you seen Dave Matthews Band? I think this is the perfect opportunity to win tickets if you're number 9 at 239-1070. If you've never gone or never been to a Dave Matthews Band show, because if you have, and this is kind of an annual event for you, whether you go to just one or you go to both, you probably already have your tickets. So this is probably more designed for somebody that has never seen Dave Matthews Band live. And I hope that's the case. Got a pair for you, Ruoff Music Center. As I always mention, too, when you go out for a show at Ruoff, get signed up to become a AAA member before you do, because you get so many incredible perks. AAA is great the way that it is. I can't tell you how many times they've had my back with situations on the road, but also with my pit crew and my driveway with 4 new tires the week before last. That is beyond legit. So becoming a AAA member is essential for you any place, any reason, because they have your back, but also at places like Ruoff, where you can get into the Premier Lounge or early entry. It's a AAA member. You get those perks at Ruoff, AAA.com. Become a member today. Of course, AAA is the sponsor of the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Number 9 at 239-1070. We'll go and see Dave Matthews Band live. I don't know what night it might be, but enjoy. All right, speaking of enjoy, Nick Cleveland is your Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day winner. Skyway Victress paid out $4.80 on a $2 bet. The $2 exacto went for $20.40. Your 50-cent trifecta, $13.10. That's, my friends, your Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. So Nick gets 50 in betting and 50 in dining, courtesy of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. That is in Anderson. We'll close out the week coming up tomorrow with the final Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. Pacers Summer League play officially underway with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it was not anything to write home about in that first quarter. I'm assuming this is one of those things. It's almost like a little bit, right? It's a little bit like the NFL preseason. You get excited and you talk it up, and then it happens, and you kind of wonder why you got so excited about it in the first place, right? That's kind of what this is like. And it's weird, too. It's weird going from the absolute highest level of basketball in the NBA Finals to the better part of 3 weeks later going to a Summer League game. I mean, you've just been conditioned basically since mid to late April. You've been conditioned for high-level, results-driven, consequences basketball, and now you're leaning on the Summer League. Kind of a weird feeling. But Game 1 is going on with the Cavaliers right now. This date in music history, sometimes I like to give a nod to James to see if he knows. 44 years ago today, July the 10th, 1981, we saw a song that's about as famous as anyone that stood the test of time and probably got a little bit more juice because of the role that a major today comedian has played in the past. Not just regarding the song, but with this particular artist, who is no longer with us, by the way.
Is the artist David Bowie by any chance?
It is not David Bowie.
Okay.
The artist is no longer with us. And there is a comedian, very popular comedian out there, that is synonymous with a couple of famous sketches for this particular musician. And to a degree, this song as well.
I'm assuming the sketches were on SNL?
They were not.
Oh. I have no idea.
Dave Chappell.
Oh. Rick James?
Rick James. There you go. James Adams with the Rick James. Rick James, this date 44 years ago, unleashed upon us all the classic Super Freak. The classic Super Freak. So, I just got, did Doug call you here? I just got that was cruel as hell to say on the radio that Doug Shelton wanted 4 state fair tickets, give them to him. So I called the radio station. For the love of God, let him call back and give it to him. I mean, I wasn't trying to be cruel as hell at all. JMV would never do anything wrong to you. Good God. Hey, Doug, call back right now and give the sounds of summer to this guy. Because apparently I've whiffed on the Yes Sir shirt, which has been here.
Don't tell him to call back right now because I've got 1,000 people calling in.
Do. Sorry
Maybe
about that.
call back tomorrow.
Lord have mercy. Come on, man. It is funny. It is really funny, man. You try to do a solid, and this is how it ends up working out like that. That's good. Thank you. Yeah, I've got that Yes Sir. How many shirts? I have gold shirts back there for everybody, and certainly I don't want that Yes Sir shirt, and I brought it in for Doug, and we can't have that, and Doug's mad about this. Hey, Doug, man, is there anything you're not going to get pissed off about here? Just let me know. Jesus.
Did you ever get one of those Sirs Nation or Yes Sirs Nation ones that they had?
I think somebody took it.
Oh.
Like Carl Showbiz took something. I had like 4 or 5 of them on my chair.
Well, Carl had.
And I think Showbiz took something.
Carl
I
had
thought
like
Showbiz took a Yes Sirs.
Showbiz had like a Malcolm Brogdon shirt or something. Didn't he have something completely off the wall?
Karis LeVert.
That's who it was.
It was a Karis LeVert shirt. Carl, who also was the producer for Tony Katz in the morning. Carl is occasionally our engineer, and when we rolled to Taylor's Pub for a show, had a Karis LeVert shirt on, a jersey, and I said, hey, no, we got to do something different than that. So we gave him a Pacer shirt. Now, I went to some of those playoff games, and they had a different shirt every time, a different gold shirt every time. I can't remember if he took a Yes Sirs or what, but he took something. Gotcha. And I brought one in for Doug here, and then Doug said he went out and bought one, and I go, okay, well, great. And then I think Doug's upset about it. So when Doug, these tomorrow's
the
Sounds of Summer for the Indiana State Fair, these are for Doug. Because Doug is all over me right now about this.
Just call
Doug.
Call in tomorrow, Doug, and I'll hook you up.
I don't think anybody will have an issue with these tickets being for Doug tomorrow. I can't wait. More Earth and Wind and Fire Unleashed upon you coming up on tomorrow's show as well. I don't know how much of a recap we'll have with Chad Buchanan because there is so much going on in the world of Pacers right now beyond what we really care about in the Summer League. So we'll have Chad Buchanan on with a lot of conversation live from Las Vegas, the Pacers general manager, coming up at 5 o'clock. That is a part of tomorrow's show. And hashtag Ask Pat, Pat Sullivan of Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Somebody's going on something for free if you get a question read on the air and James selects you tomorrow. Hashtag Ask Pat, 4 o'clock hour, is coming up tomorrow as well. Thank you all for joining us today. Tom Dienhart, Big Ten football. Tom Dienhart, NCAA possible expansion for the tournament. And Mike Chappell, as we are in front of the start of Colts camp. 22nd, they report. The 23rd practice begins. Mike Chappell earlier, podcast 107.5 thefan.com. Tomorrow, we do it again on a Friday in studio at 3. Thank you for joining us. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.